I take a Sebastian Stan as James Bond.
He's not British.
So?
Gotta be British to play Bond. Goes back to King George.
I don't like that rule.
Those are the rules. Can't break them.
Yeah, if there's an American Bond, then we go back under their control. That was the peace treaty signed by George.
Get me Agent Hill.
Communications array damaged.
Well, what's not damaged?
Air conditioning is fully operational.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and Teddy, and we are back to continue our Marvel Revisited series with one of the most beloved Marvel movies of the past 20 years of all of the MCU, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And it's one that we've been anticipating because it's a movie that kind of just knocked everyone's socks off when it came out in 2014. This was a character that, I wouldn't say that he was hated, but he was kind of considered a dork because he was a man at a time. He had the old school costume. The Russo brothers, famed directors from Community and other television series, decided to make him the most badass character in the entire franchise. They turned him into Jason Bourne. And it was a makeover that, I don't think he needed it, but goddamn, I'm happy he got it.
Yeah,
because
man.
this movie is just awesome.
I think the Winter Soldier is the sophomore that went to Alabama for the recruit, and he came home on juice.
Yeah, he came back. He's the man on campus now in the hometown.
It was like I watched it for the first time again.
No, it's number one for me. It has been for a while. Sometimes I waver between this, Guardians, maybe Infinity War, but every time I rewatch this, I'm just blown away.
It solidifies itself every time you watch it.
Dude, like the action in this movie is fucking phenomenal.
It doesn't stop.
It's shot so well. It really is just like it's a Mission Impossible movie, and not like the first three, like the better ones that we've seen recently. I don't know if it's an intentional homage, but everything from the face masks when you're hiding your identity. Some of the most iconic and best action set pieces in the entire MCU. And it just goes to show, I mean, as much as we love, Doctor Strange versus Thanos and these big CGI battles, it's like you don't need that to pull off iconic action.
Nothing better than a good choreographed fight.
And even too, like that moment when Captain America is first chasing Bucky and he throws the shield and he catches it. Captain America's shield, as iconic as it is, it's not like it's not Mjolnir. Oh, fuck. It's not Mjolnir, but it's in that moment, it's like him catching that.
Wait, you can't hold this.
Yeah, and it's just a shield, but like what it represents, and him sticking his hand and grabbing, and him glaring over and looking at Cap. It's one of my favorite sequences in the entire MCU.
That opening boat scene, you can argue that can be an ending scene in a movie, and they opened up with that, and that just set the pace for the entire movie.
I remember after this movie came out, when we all used to hang out, we would just throw on the boat scene.
I watch it all the time on YouTube.
Even Nash, who doesn't like superhero movies, he'd be like, "Yo, can we throw in that boat scene from Captain America?" This man,
George St. Pierre,
it just
his ass kicked by Cap.
puts you, and every moment in this movie counts towards the end.
Yeah.
Like the boat scene could just be a throwaway. Look how badass Cap is now, but that's a very important scene. That's what really starts off all these events. The first kick, man, when he kicks that dude off the boat, you're like, wait a minute.
You can do that?
Cap's got this
Cap.
power?
Yeah, that's not Cap.
I love the Honest Trailers joke that Cap did not skip leg day, and after this movie, his legs were probably so sore. But just the brutality in the way that he was fighting, and it makes sense that a man who has been gone this long would upgrade his fighting style, that he learns all the different jujitsus, karate, Krav Maga, kickboxing, all these. That's Cap from the comics, and we see it in this movie. But it's also the little details, like when he's chasing the Winter Soldier, and he just bursts through the fucking door and leaves a hole in the wall. Yeah. Those tiny little details that just show you the brutality of this character, what he's truly capable of.
That's one of the things about these movies, and I think it's apparent in this one too. It's the comparison to like DC and Marvel, how Marvel's usually more lighthearted and DC has the darker tones, but you see throughout these characters, like they're not afraid to kill. They're like
a lot of violence in this movie, man.
It's
a lot
like
of killing.
Yeah, Marvel is known as like you said, the comedic, lighter tone, but they're taking people out left and right in these movies. They kill indiscriminately.
I'd say it's like 5-1 with jokes and killing in this movie.
Right, no, not a lot of jokes. That's something that stood out to me the first time I did see it, that this is it's amazing how they managed to ground these characters, and the political machinations. The return of Hydra is a very serious topic. It's got naturally a lot of intrigue. Everybody loves Illuminati conspiracies, New World Order. So as you're watching this unfold, and of course we have the history from his battles with Hydra in the first movie, you're thinking, oh man, this is fucked up. They got Nick Fury got duped here.
Yeah.
Got one under his nose.
This was a lot more than just an action movie too. Just the storytelling in this movie it makes the first Captain America so much better, knowing his history and what he's been through and what he's going through right now, how he's being played too, and then when he ultimately finds out that he got duped too, that he died for nothing.
Right, yeah, he kind of has
The
to...
turmoil in him, he's dying inside that he just found that out from Zola.
Well, he even has that line when he does find out, because she says, you're pretty chipper for someone who died for nothing, and he goes, I like to know who I'm fighting. And they touch on this in the James Bond movies, that your enemies are no longer drawing borders. They're in the shadows. They're spies. They're terrorists. So it's difficult for Captain America to grasp onto that. And even when they're going over Project Insight, and Nick Fury says, we're going to eliminate a lot of threats before they even happen, to Cap, that's, whoa, I thought the punishment came after the crime.
Yeah.
So once he gets his footing and discovering, okay, it's Hydra once again, run it back.
And it was a lot more than
I
just
know what
Cap
this is
too.
about.
Let me get that old school uniform. Great Stan Lee cameo. We haven't really talked
Yeah,
about
that
Stan
was.
Lee cameos. One of the better ones.
Oh, man. I am so fired.
I think this was a lot more than Cap too, because this was just as much as Black Widow's movie, Nick Fury's movie. These supporting characters played a huge part in this movie, and Winter Soldier himself.
There are characters like Superman and Cap that you can criticize them as the Boy Scouts. Maybe they're not that interesting, but giving him these complex side characters to work with is, it's one of the strongest elements of this film.
First look at Falcon. I don't know if Anthony Mackie could have seen him delivering, taken from this point to delivering one of the biggest lines in cinematic history, really, on your left, and that's where this stems from.
On your left.
I got the chills just now.
And seeing that relationship, its inception and kind of develop throughout the film, and seeing where they end up now, where now is Falcon going to be the next Captain America? He gave him the shield at the end of Endgame, and he's leading off a Disney series with Winter Soldier, a new version of him introduced in this film, and there's a lot here that really is a stepping stone for a lot of future MCU things.
There's so many great callbacks with the lines. When he's in the hospital bed and he wakes up and he tells Sam, on your left, once again. Or when he's talking to Peggy and says, I promised my best girl a last dance.
Well, I couldn't leave my best girl. Now when she owes me a dance.
The emotional weight for a lot of these callbacks it's there.
And even his decision in Endgame to go back with Peggy. Feel bad for the guy she would have married, but you ain't Cap.
Right, and he talks about that with Sam, where he hints that he maybe wants to get out of this life, and Sam asks him what he loves to do, and Cap doesn't even know. And we
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, we discover in Endgame that it's just having that taste of life, settling down, being a husband, maybe being a father. But they set that up in this movie. And his conversation with Peggy is, the makeup's okay. It's not
Peggy?
great. Yeah, but she's good. Haley Atwell is good in the role to return. And she basically kind of spoils the events of this movie, that the best way to make amends for your mistakes is to start over. And that's what happens in a big way with S.H.I.E.L.D., the destruction of S.H.I.E.L.D., and also a lot of these characters kind of having to rediscover who they are. Like Black Widow, to me, this is the best Black Widow.
Yeah, she started out as a side character in the Iron Man movies, and she had her chance as one of the original Avengers. And in this movie, she's really, I'm not sure if this has been confirmed or anything, but I feel like the solo movie is going to have a lot to do with a lot of these events where she does have to go away for a while and find herself. And there's still a lot there. She's always been a mysterious character, but I think you're right. She's probably at her best in this movie.
Yeah, the juxtaposition with Captain America, the strong moral center, and then you have Black Widow, who's more morally flexible. She represents how you fight the bad guys in this world. Always lying, always switching sides, and you don't know until they finally do team up whose side she's on. And you just see how cold this character is. When they steal the car and they're on their way to New Jersey, and Cap's like, "Hey, maybe we could be friends," and she's like, "Not in this world." That she's just so numb to all of this, that she never opens up to herself. She's never vulnerable with anybody, because that's the nature of this business. And this movie makes the point that maybe that needs to change too.
She said all that too, she said all that not knowing that she's working for Hydra too. That's how fucked up she is.
Right, she traded in the KGB for just being a Nazi.
It's a bad look.
Downgrade.
That's a bad look.
I think
and she outed herself too. Solid person right there.
I do want to note that one of the Hydra goons also plays the KG Beast in Batman v Superman. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
He's just a bad guy.
He looks like a bad guy.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I wouldn't trust him with Superman's mom.
Well, that's what they say, right? When in Endgame, when they go back, it's like, you couldn't tell these guys are Hydra. I mean, the crux of this movie, the espionage thriller aspect of it, is just so well done, too. And seeing it all unravel with Nick Fury and kind of the way it happens when he's dead, but when he comes back, it's like, oh yeah, it's Nick Fury. He's the spy. So it all comes together so well, and kind of exposing this plot within Shield and kind of having to start over again. It's just very well done, and a lot of development comes with these characters dealing with this situation. I mean, think of all the iconic action sequences. That, like I said, that shot of Winter Soldier catching the shields, the elevator scene is incredible. Just how like the little like sweat beads going down and him figuring out, and that amazing line. It's like,
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
and
There's so many great lines in this.
it's just such a great fight sequence. And
I honestly
the
thought,
bridge
how's
scene
he
is
gonna do this?
incredible, and that hand to hand between Cap and Winter Soldier is just.
I
He
love
drops the blade, catches
Yeah.
it.
I love that moment. Love that moment.
He
Love
fucking
that
uses
moment.
his arm as like a hydraulic press.
He actually trained with a knife so that he could do the stunt work there. Sebastian Stan.
Did he really?
Yeah, and of all
That's
the
sick.
great just CQC that you get in this movie, I think my favorite action sequence is Nick Fury's car chase.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I always forget about it when I'm watching it because I'm anticipating the hand-to-hand fights. But I'm like, oh yeah, Nick Fury just has a fucking he has a ball game in this movie.
Oh, it
was a
some of the
standout.
best we've seen Nick Fury too. I mean, I didn't hate Captain Marvel the movie, but the eye thing still pisses me off. And
Last time I trusted someone, I actually think it's fucking hilarious. Thinking of that little cat. He's not a cat though; he's an alien.
but in this movie, he's just so like.
Well, it's the confidence too of Samuel
Yeah.
Jackson. Like this is a veteran actor. When Steve walks in on him and he complains about the mission and he's not even looking at him, he's just looking out the window. He's like, I don't have to do anything. Or when he walks into the elevator and he overrides the commands.
Does not have clearance for Project Insight.
Director Override, Fury, Nicholas J.
He's just so confident in his role, and that's why they took inspiration from Samuel Jackson when, Bendis created this new version of Nick Fury. And this is, like I said with Black Widow, it's also the best Nick Fury has been in any of these movies.
Yeah, this movie was a Nick Fury coming out party because he was acting a lot. Before these other movies, he was like a 5 minute here, 2 minutes here, and he had at least, I want to say, like 20, 25 minutes in this movie.
Right, he's the guy behind the scenes setting everything up, and this movie showcases why he was
He was
that
in the
man.
forefront.
Yeah, why he was put in that position. Because just like I said, the opening mission, him hijacking his own ship because he knows something is up. Obviously, he's allowed this parasite to grow for years, but he caught on to it, him compartmentalizing the information, keeping Cap in the shadows, keeping Black Widow a bit in the shadows to make sure that they can have a running start almost against S.H.I.E.L.D. so they're not kind of brought down with him. The two dumb scenes in this movie is when he escapes with the laser digger thing.
Yeah.
So
Where'd you go on the ground,
So
guy?
stupid, so ridiculous. And also when Alexander Pierce just shoots his maid for no reason. When he's sharing a glass of milk with Bucky.
Yeah.
Why was that scene in this movie?
She saw Buck.
She did. Like, what was she gonna go to? Tony Stark. It's like, Tone, I got a big one. But other than that, like, the movie is pretty much flawless. But it's a great collection of villains too, because we'll get into Bucky and everything that character's dealing with. But the design is great. He's menacing. He's scary. He's mysterious. But Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce is almost more intimidating because of the power that he wields, because he is the man behind the conspiracy.
He's the head of Hydra right now.
Yeah, they're both kind of like the antithesis. They're both kind of like the antithesis. Fuck, say that word. They're both kind of like the antithesis. That sucks.
They're all staying in, so you better nail it.
They're kind of like the opposite. Both like Alexander Pierce and Winter Soldier are kind of like the antithesis of Captain America and Nick Fury, right?
Right, yeah, definitely.
So like,
And, Nick, that was his friend. Like, that's the man who gave him the job.
and Winter Soldier, that was Cap's friend.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah.
I wonder if Nick had a sense that that if it was Pierce. I feel like he did know it was Pierce.
Well, that's why he's so brilliant when he breaks into Cap's house, and even at that moment, he just didn't know who to trust.
Yeah.
So he's kind of putting things in motion, like, okay, I probably can trust Captain America. This is the guy I'm going to lean on here.
Should have trusted him from the beginning.
Yeah, but it's heartbreaking for Nick Fury. He says this is the man who turned down the Nobel Peace Prize. And it's so funny seeing him at the end of Avengers when he's trying to get his hands on the staff and the Tesseract.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this fucking asshole, man. He's been scheming behind the scenes for years now. A character like Bucky, I mean, going into this movie, everyone probably knew who it was, Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier, it's from the comics. But that emotional weight is still there when it's revealed, when Steve sees his face and he's just completely taken out of the moment, taken prisoner, but he can't even think about the moment.
Yeah, Cap had to die inside when he saw that. I wonder if he was like in Thor, Ragnarok when Thor was so happy to see Hulk. I wonder if he was kind of happy to see Bucky, or if he was more amazed that he was alive.
I think as the movie goes on, he starts to realize this is someone I can't give up on because he has those flashbacks of how Bucky was always there for him.
Cap had to have noticed that he realized who he was at that time when he ran, before he ran.
And it's the power of friendship.
Yeah.
You know, he just never gives up on him. So much of the chaos in these next couple of movies, a lot of the chaos is caused by Bucky and their relationship.
He was chaos.
And the fact that he doesn't want to give up on him, that he wants to save his childhood friend. And it's also part of the reason that he bonds with Sam. Sam went through a similar thing with his pararescue buddy. You know, just saw him die. He couldn't do anything about it. So now he has a chance, unlike Sam, he has a chance to now save his friend. You know, the fight between them in the end.
Menacing, dude. Seeing Cap like that. You never see Cap like that, or even a superhero getting like that. Face his little buddy. He got shot like 3 times. You never see Cap like that.
Yeah, Bucky was not letting up.
No.
He really wasn't. And once he delivers that line, I'm with you until the end of the line, maybe that's the moment where it does snap in Bucky. But even the scenes when they're reconditioning him, when he's having those flashbacks.
Brutal, man.
Yeah, it is brutal. It's hard to watch. And it makes you more sympathetic for this character. The world, we always talk about it, that he can't be Captain America because the world views him as a terrorist and a war criminal. But he was abused. He's a victim of Hydra, just like many other people.
Yeah, and we see the post-credits sequence, too. Well, they were volunteers, but they were definitely victimized by what the experiments they did on them with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. And, I mean, again, like, right now, watching WandaVision, that's just cool to see.
Yeah.
Like, that's
all that planning.
That's Wanda. Like,
yeah, I always forget about that end credit scene.
Yeah.
And that's where Nick Fury, in the end, he goes off to kind of find these cells, and that's what they pick up on with Age of Ultron. But yeah, the comedy in this movie, it's less comedy than we're used to with the MCU, but a lot of it hits. The reoccurring jabs of Steve not knowing certain pop culture references, like when they discover Armin Zola is still alive and she goes, "You want to play a game?" Okay, I've seen the movie. All right, enough of this.
There's maybe like 6 comedy relief points on this movie. It's nice it's refreshing to not have to talk about comedy relief in a superhero movie in Marvel.
Yeah, it's just perfect for the moment.
Yeah.
Like Cap
They
telling
knew what they had.
Black Widow to take her foot off the dash. Such a dad thing to say. Cap telling Falcon, I need a lift. Let me know when you're ready. I just told you I'm ready.
When he said that foot scene, I actually just said to myself, like, really? They're acting like that?
That is something my dad always used to tell us, dude. Foot off the dash, just like Cap. But they do bring back Zola in this movie.
Fucking menacing, dude. That was actually scary. They nailed it. The Nazi.
Got him on how many gigabytes of data?
Could have updated that.
Old school type of villain. Yeah. They do tackle the politics of the time. We talk about the movies from the 2000s. It's kind of the post 9/11 politics, the debate between security and freedom. And of course, someone like Captain America is going to stand up for freedom. And they do simplify it with the whole plan of the helicarriers being able to take out criminals before they act. But this is something we've seen explored in The Dark Knight. It's something we saw explored in Minority Report, even Westworld. But I think they probably do it. It's the best that it's ever been, them tackling contemporary politics.
Right, because, I mean, Fury's on board with, like, some of this, but it is Hydra's, like, they both have shared interest in kind of this security system.
Right, and Cap at the end of this movie comes to the conclusion that S.H.I.E.L.D. needs to be torn down, and it's an interesting commentary on spy agencies. They're so powerful, so influential, it was so easy for Hydra to infiltrate and manufacture the chaos to inspire people to willingly give up their freedom. It goes to show that this power in the wrong hands can be catastrophic, and it also poses the question, should this even exist? Should anyone have this power?
Pierce makes it make sense in the end to Fury, where he explains it better to Fury and what they're trying to do, and that they do have the same intentions, but not really.
Pierce says that it was your you not following orders is what inspired me to become the new head of Hydra. It was your decision to go against what I told you.
See the targets. You see the president was a target. Tony Stark was a target.
I couldn't see it. I was trying to see who they were targeting. If they were targeting Avengers and stuff, I didn't see it.
Yeah,
I saw the president.
They target Avengers Tower.
Oh.
And we also get the drop of, it's not only what we see, it's who they name. Stephen Strange. They also mention Moon Knight. They mention Mark Spector. They don't call him out by name, but they refer to him. Still haven't seen him in 7 years, so that's interesting. Yeah, their plan to the helicarriers, man. They come in clutch, or they can be used to commit genocide.
Kill 3 million people at once.
You gotta be careful with that technology.
It's interesting how they figure it's kind of like determinism in the way they try to pick their potential targets, right? Using data, the countless data that modern society allows to get on people to kind of create trajectories in order to predict what a certain person's going to do. And
They were right about Strange. I mean, he became quite the threat.
yeah, a lot of shows, devs, Westworld have tackled that into a much deeper extent, but it's kind of right there under surface. And
The power of technology.
yeah, and just how you can quite possibly, if you have enough variables, determine what someone may or may not do,
And
and,
that's
use
why-
that for your own benefit.
And that's why it's genius to place your central character, Captain America, a man who has simple morals in the midst of all this political chaos and complexity. When he gives the speech talking about the price of freedom is high, but it's one I'm willing to pay. If I'm alone, so be it, but I bet I'm not the only one. Drops the mic. It's the perfect characters like Superman, characters like Captain America. It's the ideals that you strive towards.
You want
And
to
I
stand
think
behind
that's
him.
right. And I think that that's why those characters are important. And in this film, we also have the introduction of Agent 13, Sharon Carter, Peggy Carter's niece. The romance between them is always going to be weird looking back.
Yeah, and I wonder if they'll do something with that character going forward, because it's really only this movie and Civil War that she's in, and
And she's going to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
okay,
Yeah.
so but yeah, it's kind of like her character that kind of represents the, I guess, good and shield, right? Where these characters have to make that decision whether to trust Cap or the current command, and you have the one technician who refuses to go.
Shit in his pants.
Oh,
Yes.
of course. I mean,
I feel horrible for that kid.
I think he survived though.
Captain's orders, right?
Yeah, captain's orders.
It's that line delivery, just like hell yeah.
Yeah, and
Even the line delivery with Fury when he tells Cap, "You're finally the captain now."
And just him making that decision to go against. Well, we forgot to talk about Crossbones, Rumlow.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck he survived.
He didn't. I don't like that. I didn't like bringing him back. I forgot they brought him back like that.
That's
I
the
didn't like
third
that.
dumb thing in this movie. I have
Yeah.
to up it from 2.
Well, I
That
kind
is
of put
so
that
stupid.
together with the Falcon jumping out of the building and then
And landing in a chopper.
and landing in the chopper.
I'm sure Fury can drive choppers like that.
That I'll forgive them.
It was cool.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was alright.
sick. So I'll forgive him for that. But
I think he's he's memorable, man. Frank Grillo. He stands out in every movie that he's in as the douchey henchman.
Mhm.
And he's riding with Cap in the beginning. I love that when Cap. It's just a day in the office in the beginning when he's calling out orders.
Oh my god,
He's telling Black Widow and Rumlow what to do, and he jumps out without a fucking parachute. Such a gangster.
it's a great line. Did he just jump without a chute? Yeah, he
But
did.
like I said, he's got great screen presence. I just don't know how the fuck he survived.
The way Sam Wilson was introduced into the movie, isn't it cool to know what they do in the backgrounds? Like he was doing this before superheroes, like he's doing these ops with the Falcon suit
Right.
before anyone knows about him. I think it's so fascinating with that.
Well, this can be seen as a mini Avengers movie. You got
Yeah,
Cap,
for
you
real.
got Black Widow, you got Fury, and you have the first African American superhero in mainstream comics, Falcon. And I always think about that he was out there doing his own missions with his own. That's why he is so
Yeah.
good with that.
I was gonna say he was really good in with his flights and his
right when he's
combat,
grounded,
he's
Cap
good,
is
yeah.
like, oh fuck, man. Like, oh, I'll just do it myself. Even a character like Maria Hill, who she's there in Avengers, and she's very much a side character, but she stands out for her role. When she goes deep shadow, Nick Fury tells her in the beginning, we got to keep things low key, and then she's super low key. She looks at Sam and says, "Who the hell is this guy?" So the gang that they put together, the mini Avengers in this movie, I enjoyed everything that all of these characters did.
well, even the senator from Iron Man.
Gary Shandling.
Yeah, he's Hydra.
He's fucking Hydra, that motherfucker.
I like to think he wasn't Hydra. Then he just got so upset with Iron Man. He's like, I'm gonna join Hydra.
Maybe.
Yeah, but in Iron Man 2, he was telling Iron Man to pretty much stop, right?
Oh yeah, no, he was trying to get his technology from him in that hearing, right?
Yeah, imagine if Hydra got their hands on that.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
Well-
you can see the Hydra tentacles, man.
Bring it back to the Russos too. I mean, like you mentioned before, where they began, and to be given this opportunity and to deliver to this extent, it really is remarkable.
They
This
paved the way.
kickstarts the Russo era.
Yeah, and look what
They delivered.
the highest grossing movie of all time, and a beloved movie too by a lot of fans. So it really is incredible to see their trajectory and how they were able just to make such an impact with this film. Like I said before, I always waver on whether I like Guardians or this movie more, which is funny because they're just completely opposites. But it's
I wonder if you watch Guardians, you're gonna think Guardians is better. It's probably like your after you watch one, you think it's better than the other one. Every time you watch it, you change your idea.
yeah, these two have been firm on my top two since I've seen them. So
And they're so influential. I mean, even in Age of Ultron, Joss Whedon said, yeah, we're going to keep Cap's fighting style. And there was more of an effort to, I mean, a lot of the movies, the big ones, were directed by the Russo brothers, so of course the styles were similar. But even Guardians, I mean, without Guardians, you don't get a Thor Ragnarok. You don't get some of these, even the other movies that have came out from other franchises after Guardians. So these two really sent shockwaves, not only throughout the MCU, but just throughout film.
You know, after watching that, I'm thinking we get Anthony Mackie as James Bond. He played it great.
Didn't we go over this before?
He's an American.
What's that guy doing anything? All right, so Brad Pitt. Gosling looks European.
How about this? How about we Henry Cavill?
He's British? Are you sure?
Yeah, no, positive.
Wait, so a British person can play Superman, but an American can't play Bond?
We had to make some concessions for that, War. It's the price of freedom. Well, would you look at that? It's finally over. Hey guys, Bo Oliver here for one final send-off. Now, before I beg you guys to like and share this video, I'd like to thank our very special Patreon pledgers. We are very proud of the community we've been able to build here at NerdSoup, and it would not have been possible without our Patreon supporters. You guys are the true MVPs of this channel. Everything I've said, you keep the fridge full, you keep the lights on. There aren't enough words to thank you guys, but we'll do it anyway. Thank you. And we have a few videos coming up that have been suggested to us by Patreon pledgers. My Hero Academia, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Full Metal Alchemist will be reviewed by Marissa, and yours truly, and Castlevania, which will be reviewed by Marissa and Aaron. And if you'd like to consider donating to our Patreon page, you can visit patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out some of the rewards we offer to our listeners. And really, we'd like to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to watch our videos. Patreon pledger or not, your support is what keeps us motivated to keep giving the world our opinions on movies and TV shows and video games and pop culture, even though no one asked for it. We're still here, we're still yapping, and we hope you continue to join us. I'm Bo Oliver, and I support this message.